Hello dear students, hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to discuss another interesting topic in income tax, that is valuation of rent-free accommodation. Valuation of rent-free accommodation is a very important concept and part of chapter income under the head salaries. So we will start with the valuation of rent-free accommodation. So we have segregated this valuation of rent-free accommodation into actually three parts. In second part we have two subparts, part A, subpart A and subpart B. So let's start. In case of valuation of rent-free accommodation, if the rent-free accommodation is actually provided by central government or state government to its employees, then the value of rent-free accommodation would be the license fees. License fees determined by central government or the state government. Now let's move ahead. In case of accommodation provided by central government or a state government to its employee, the valuation would be the license fees. In case they provide not only a rent-free unfurnished accommodation, they also provide furniture along with it. So there is a difference between the type of accommodation being provided. First one being an unfurnished accommodation. That means only an accommodation is being provided to an employee. In a second case, where it is a furnished rent-free accommodation, furniture, for example, bed, TV, washing machine, sofa, these furniture items are also provided along with the accommodation. That would be called a furnished rent-free accommodation. So in case of unfurnished rent-free accommodation provided by central government or state government to its employees, the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation would be the license fees. In case furniture is also provided, then the license fees plus, if furniture is purchased by the government, then 10% of the cost, or if the furniture is taken on rent by government, then the amount of rent paid for that furniture would be added to this license fees for calculating the value of furnished rent-free accommodation. Clear? In case of unfurnished, only the license fees which is being determined by the central government or state government. In case of furnished, if the furniture is purchased, then 10% of the cost of such furniture, or the rent, if in case the furniture has been taken on rent, then the rent paid of such furniture plus the license fees would be the value of furnished rent-free accommodation. Let's move to the second part. If the accommodation is provided by any other employer other than the central government or the state government, in case if the accommodation is provided by any other employer and such accommodation is owned by such other employer, accommodation is owned by such other employer, then the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation would depend upon the population of that city where such accommodation is provided. So the population we have to take as per 2001 census, and the valuation says that in case where the accommodation is provided, the population of such city is more than 25 lakhs as per 2001 census, then the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation would be 15% of salary. Okay. If the population is actually less than 25 lakhs but more than 10 lakhs, then 10% of salary. And if the population is less than 10 lakhs or equal to up to 10 lakhs, then the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation would be 7.5% of salary. We will discuss what is comprised there in salary to calculate that actual value. But we have to first understand what would be the value. So value depending upon the population. If population is more than 25 lakhs, it would be 15% of salary. If it is ranging between 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs, it would be 10% of salary. And if it is less than or equal to 10 lakhs, the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation would be 7.5% of salary. It was the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation. Now let's move to the furnished rent-free accommodation. Similarly, in the case we have done above, this value plus the cost of furniture if furniture is provided and owned by the employer, or if the furniture is taken on rent by employer, then the rent paid for that furniture would be added to this value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation. Clear? Let's move ahead. Now in this, where the accommodation is provided by any other employer and the accommodation is not owned by employer, it is taken on rent or lease by the employer. If it is taken on rent or lease by the employer, then straightforward 15% of salary or the rent paid by employer, whichever is less, would be the value of unfurnished rent-free accommodation. Okay, and in case again if it is a furnished accommodation, then this value plus the 10% of cost of furniture, or if the furniture is also taken on rent, then the rent paid for such furniture will be added to the value of unfurnished accommodation to calculate the value of furnished rent-free accommodation. So we have discussed part 1, wherein the accommodation has been provided by central government or the state government, license fees. In case of any other employer, if such accommodation is owned by employer, 15%, 10% or 7.5% of salary, depending upon the population of that city where the accommodation is provided. If in case any other employer has taken such accommodation on rent, then it is 15% of salary or the rent paid for such accommodation by the employer, whichever is less. Let's move to our last category, that if the accommodation is provided either by the central government, state government or any other employer in a hotel. If accommodation is provided in a hotel, then it will not fall under the category of unfurnished, it will fall under the category of furnished rent-free accommodation, because in hotel all the furniture, all the facilities are being provided, so we don't consider it as unfurnished rent-free accommodation. We will consider under the head furnished rent-free accommodation, and the value of such rent-free accommodation would be 24% of salary or the total charges paid by the employer, whichever is less. Okay, now we have computed the value of rent-free accommodation, whether that is license fees, or whether in case of any other employer the accommodation is owned, where we have calculated as per 15%, 10% or 7.5% of salary, or in hotel wherein the value of accommodation is 24% of salary or the charges paid by the employer. In all these cases, if any amount is recovered from the employee, then after calculating the above value, these values, we have to deduct the amount recovered from employee to calculate the net taxable value of rent-free accommodation in the hands of such employee. Okay, now let's move ahead and discuss couple of more important things. In between the topic, I told you this is 15% of salary, 10% of salary, 7.5% of salary, or here 15%. In a hotel, if it is provided, it would be 24% of salary. But what is salary? What we have to include in salary and what we do not have to include in salary. So salary would include the basic pay, your basic salary. It would include all your taxable allowances. It would include bonus. It would include commission or any other monetary payments by whatever name called. Any monetary payment made by the employer, that will be considered and included in salary while calculating your value for rent-free accommodation. But what will not be included, that would be exempt allowances. Allowances which are exempt to a certain extent. Such exempt allowances will not form part of salary. Similarly, perquisites under section 17 subsection 2 will not be included. Any employer's contribution to provident fund will also not be included. And any other payment, for example, medical insurance paid by employer on behalf of employee, that will also not be considered because they are specifically been excluded under section 17 subsection 2. So salary would include your basic salary, all taxable allowances, bonus, commission on any other monetary payment, but will not include any exempt allowances, perquisites or any payments which have been specifically excluded under section 17 subsection 2, or the employer's contribution to provident fund, that will not be included within the definition of salary. Now, couple of very interesting things and very important points as well while calculating the rent-free accommodation. First and foremost, for example, an accommodation is being provided in a hotel. For example, an employee is currently based in Delhi and he is being transferred to Bangalore. And now he has been asked to search for an accommodation in Bangalore. And what company says, okay, Mr. X, you are posted in Bangalore, now move to Bangalore, and for the time being you find an accommodation in Bangalore, we will give you 15 days stay in hotel. So on account of transfer, stay in a hotel for up to 15 days will not be considered as a taxable value or taxable rent-free accommodation in the hands of employee. That is actually exempt only up to 15 days. So it is only exempt if the accommodation is provided only up to 15 days in a hotel. Understood? Okay. Now another interesting thing. For example, my company asked me to shift to Bangalore and my family is here. My kids are studying here in a school and their session is currently running. So my wife and my kids are staying in an accommodation provided in Delhi, and I'm transferred to Bangalore and I take an accommodation there in Bangalore. So I would be having two accommodations with me. First one in Delhi where my family, my wife and my kids are staying. My parents would also be staying in case, or second accommodation would be in Bangalore where it would actually be posted. So I have two accommodation provided to me by the employer. So in such a case, there an exemption has been provided under the Income Tax Act that for the purpose of whichever is beneficial to the assessee, any one house value would be included in the salary of employee for first 90 days. For first 90 days, you can take either the value of accommodation provided in Delhi or Bangalore, whichever is less, you can take that in your salary for first 90 days only. If after 90 days as well, both the accommodations are being kept, then value of both such accommodations will be taken in the hands of such employee. I hope this topic is clear and we'll meet again with another interesting topic. Thank you.